Hello and welcome to Luxury Legends and Leaders. I am Carrie Zeier, Vice President of EXP Luxury Growth, and I am so happy to be here with all of you. I'm actually downtown in beautiful Miami. You can see from the background, and we are excited about today's show. We have been wanting a long time to really just interview amazing leaders and legends all about and in the luxury field all over the world. So this is our very first stream today. So again, welcome. And today's all about personal branding. I grew up always saying, or my mom at least always said, your name is everything, right? Is protect your name. In business, that name is your personal branding or your personal brand. And I have been passionate about it for so long. I got very intentional about my personal brand back in 2011. Before then, I was in real estate, and I had businesses even before real estate. And I understood the power of a brand and what it could do. Of course, in today's world, we've got all the social media, we've got our websites. There's so much that goes into marketing and branding yourself as a realtor. So I look forward to sharing some of the tips that I have learned throughout these 20 years of real estate, but also learn from others that are in the field and making waves and really making a difference when it comes to growing a brand. So we are going to be here the fourth Wednesday of every month, all about talking about different subjects, different topics, all related to luxury. So again, welcome to this show. Thank you. We would love to hear your comments and see everyone. And thank you for all the warm welcomes. I love to see where you're from in the world. And we would love, love, love for you to hit the subscribe button. We will be more on YouTube through EXP Luxury. So stay tuned for more things, but we're very, again, excited about our luxury legends and leaders. So subscribe now. And obviously, we want you to stay for the entire show. This is a 1-hour show. We have got two amazing guests that I'm about to bring up. One of them and start our interview and really talk all about the personal branding. But if you stay for the whole show, we definitely want to give you some show notes. And how we're going to do that is make sure you drop your Instagram handle in the chat. We would love to get that, and we will DM you the show notes. And you will hopefully have some amazing tips that you learned from us today as we share and talk and really brainstorm and come together when it comes to building that personal brand, because there's so many different ways to do it. There are ways to do it on a budget, but there's also some ways, of course, is investing in that logo, investing in, pictures and having those professionally done. So many different ways, but we want to really speak about it from all standpoints, from all budgets. So if you have not started your personal branding, or maybe it's January 2025 and you're just beginning and you're like, let's go, let's do something different this year. There's still so much time, and you will reap the benefits and the awards of really building that brand. So again, I'm Carrie Zeier, our VP of EXP Luxury. I started luxury real estate in 2005 in Atlanta, Georgia. And with that, I had a huge sphere of influence when I started. So for 2 years, I was in Atlanta, but in 2007, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, where I have been ever since. And I can't believe it's been so long ago, 2007. But I went there and I had to start over. And with that, I really learned of building that brand and what it took, because I did not have a sphere of influence. So maybe you are out there and you are local in your community. You may have lived there your entire life, and you're thinking, how can I capitalize on that? And I do think there's different ways to personal brand. to really brand what you do. But then I had the other side of going to Nashville where I didn't know anyone and I was trying to break in. Everybody was like, Carrie, who is this realtor? But, I kept going, I kept forging, but truly it was the power of the personal brand. So I would love right now, I love seeing all these comments. Thank you for putting all of your Instagram, all these handlers. I love it. Thank you. All right, let's bring in Halle McCrory. She is, where's Halle? There you are. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Carrie. Super excited to be here.
Oh, well, I love it. I love following you on Instagram. Speaking of all
Oh,
of this, and really what you've done in such a short time, and how you've really gotten yourself out there is one of the many reasons you're on this show today. Because I love your inspiration. I love how really you have expanded your brand, which is what we're talking about today. So as we're coming in, give us a little bit of background about you. I know you're Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
So yes. And tell us, how did you get into real estate? What was the draw, and how'd you get over to luxury?
Yes. Okay. So, starting out from the beginning, how I got into real estate. I actually was a corporate person. That's just always what was preached to me. Even though my parents are both entrepreneurs, I think as a parent, they wanted to make sure I was, on a stable salary, had benefits. But it's something about entrepreneurship just really was always back there in the back of my mind. I was doing pharmaceutical sales and got laid off, which is pretty common for that industry. And I had just moved to San Angelo, Texas, from Austin, Texas, to be with my husband, who is a home builder. And I got laid off, and I'm like, what am I going to do in this town of 100,000 people? And my husband's like, well, why don't you get your real estate license?
Of
And
course.
I'm like, hey, why did I go to college? Like, what the heck? But that's a whole nother topic. I got over that mindset hump. Took a dive into real estate and absolutely fell in love.
Right.
Fell in love, obsessed. And then 5 years later now, 3-time icon agent, working on my fourth.
Wow.
So that got me into, right off the bat, with my husband being in real estate, that got me into new construction and learning the ins and outs of what it takes to build a home, whether it be, a spec home, a custom home. So that kind of got my foot in the door with luxury a little bit there. So I did real estate in San Angelo. I still do real estate in San Angelo, but about almost a year ago, so last February, my husband and I bought a house in Dallas, Texas, so that we could start moving into more of a luxury market, because San Angelo is very much a market of affordability. Luxury there looks like farm and ranch, which I've done.
It's still luxury, right?
I got my boots.
Some of it.
Yes, right. But we just wanted more access into higher price points, because at a certain point I was having to start selling. I was selling 90 homes a year, which at a certain point I was like, I need to work smarter, not harder. Right.
90 homes a year is pretty great, though. Wow.
Yeah. And I have amazing experience.
So you were intentional on raising your price point and getting into luxury.
Absolutely. Yes. And we felt that expanding our markets into Dallas, both of us, right? Because he's a home builder. It's the same exact, business plan there. And we have his siblings that live here and stuff too. I'm actually here in Dallas, Texas right now. So yeah, I was intentional about increasing my price point. And I knew I always wanted to do luxury, and there's just more access to it here in Dallas. So.
Well, I admire you because the move in, absolutely, Dallas has it all when it comes to luxury real estate. Absolutely beautiful properties out there, and so much. So you came from, he's a home builder. Let's talk a little bit, because there's so much and we've got such a short time. I don't want to get everything in. When you talk about you moved, you're intentional, your niche, for me, it was sports and entertainment. I really went after that. And that helped me also because I was very intentional too when it came to promoting my brand, from what I wore to where, how I looked, how I did every single picture. Everything was very, our word of today is intentional. So it would, promote my brand. Where are you with that? And when it comes to your niche?
Yes. So I would say my niche is, well, now luxury, of course, that's a niche in itself, but also new construction with my knowledge there as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm like, I guess my big targets and what has been beneficial for me in the past, I'm taking what I'm taking those lead generation forms and I'm taking and tweaking it to luxury in Dallas, right?
Right.
So that for me looks like social media and networking. Those are my two big lead generation forms that have been tried and true for me in the past. So really, like when I started to sit down and think about my business plan for luxury, I went to ChatGPT.
Yes.
So I would say ChatGPT and then kind of like mood boards from Instagram, looking at other luxury agents. I'm going to rinse and repeat what's worked for them, right?
Yes.
So social media, like I make sure, and I have a whole list of people that I like to follow for inspiration. Bridget Ramey in Austin, another Austin agent, Kamira Wilcox, and those are like two big ones that I love to follow for inspiration. Even one this morning, I did a buyer needs post that I kind of did a riff off of Cord Shiflett. These are all Austin agents, but that's where I moved from originally.
Right.
So I love their brands as well. But then
so it sounds like you have great content that you have put with your brand.
Yes. Yeah. And I rely on ChatGPT to help me refine it and say, hey, how can I make this sound more refined? How can I make this sound more professional? But then I keep a little bit of me in there too, because that's what keeps people coming.
Absolutely.
Back, right?
Well, that's why it's called personal branding. It's all about you. So you've moved to Dallas. You started this branding around yourself, new construction. And I like what you said, the social media and the networking. Your social media is on fire. And I think a lot of it is because you put yourself out there. You turn the camera around, you talk on it, and you send it. Were you a natural at it, or was that hard for you, or have you just made yourself do it?
I made myself do it because every time when I would go back and look at my analytics, the posts that always did well, or my best performing posts were always the ones that had my face in it.
Yes.
So even if it's not a video, I have my face on it. So like even that buyer needs, that post isn't about me, but I have a picture of me on there because that's what, whatever psychology says, that's what keeps people, that's what makes people stop in their tracks.
Yes. And this is gold, everyone. She is absolutely 1000% correct. And I agree with you. And it's, I used to think I'm being so like ego here because my picture is on everything.
That's
but
a hard
everything was what branded me. That's what works. And like you said, those are the most open, the ones that we did not have, face, logo, all about, who we are. They don't track as much. Yeah. So I love
thinking about it like that. They're just like scrolling and see you. Like no one's like, oh, she posts herself all the time. She's just all she cares about is herself. Like, no, this is strategic. And I was even thinking like that. That's not somebody I even care about anyways.
Yes. Well, it does. So so you've got all these forms. You've given some great tips on content, which I love. You have brand those with you. Do you have a logo that you've come up with, or?
So I do have a team. So I have Empower Real Estate Group on a lot of different things. I even have, and I know this is something that you talked about, Carrie, at EXPCon that I was already doing. So I felt good about myself, but I have like luxury candles that I got made. They're like a concrete kind of restoration hardware look. I know you like that too.
Yeah.
that has our Empower Real Estate Group.
Very nice. Yes. So even just getting it out there everywhere.
like my baby gifts to people is an Empower Real Estate Group onesie. And it's like organic. It's like a nice, nice little brand. So yes. And like I said, I do a lot of networking. I'm out, so like one of the big luxury neighborhoods in Dallas is Highland Park. And there's Highland Park Village, which is the high-end shopping center that is supposed to be, it was modeled and designed by the guy who also designed and built Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow.
This is like prime luxury. I go to the coffee shops in there. I've got this, hanging out where people can see this. So it's all intentional. That's our word of the day.
Yes, very much so. So you did, let's go the networking, which you just talked about, but go social media, of course, huge. Networking is the other. And networking means different things to different people. Some people think networking is actually meeting people in person. Some networking is having just Zoom calls or actually, setting up appointments, just having meets. Some could be phone calls. Some are actual in-person events. So there's different ways when we say networking. Yes, if you are in real estate and not networking, I think, it's going to be not a great career. Because networking is everything. And networking is even with other realtors. It's not necessarily just, trying to go get the seller or the buyers or the clients. It is more about, too, that network with actual agents, which brands yourself in the market. So I think it's very important when you are trying to not only increase your price point, be the luxury agent, own your area, but also be very engaged in the real estate community, because that makes a difference when it comes. So any, what's been your best? I know you've just talked about Highland Park. Anything else with the networking that has been maybe a success or a challenge for you?
Yeah. So for me, I think, so a free or like low cost for those, trying to break into luxury. I attend a lot of art gallery openings. Or like art shows, and that has been super successful for me. That tends to, for whatever reason, just draws people in from a more affluent crowd. I think there's a lot of talk around investing. So I've even, grabbed coffee with other like Sotheby's, not Sotheby's, real estate networking as well, but like art advisors. I also am intentional about networking with financial advisors and people in those type of roles. So, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, friends in private equity. So that's been something intentional. I've been able to save up, and now there's a luxury hotel here, Hotel Swexen, that has a private social club. So that's something that I personally invest in. Not only is it fun and there's great gatherings. I mean, we just had a fashion show with Givenchy. Like I love that, right? But this is part of my business too. I go there and I meet other people who are able to afford this type of social networking, and a lot of times they want to network there too. So that's a big win-win for me. I'm intentional about networking with the concierges there as well, because they're the ones oftentimes, waiting hand and foot on affluent people that are coming in and out, not even a part of the social club there, but for the hotel.
Yes.
Well, so that's been, just.
And that networking drives your content. It gives you things to post about.
Yep.
And how often do you like on the spot, you're at an art gallery, you see something, you post, or are you going in there thinking, I got to post something from here today? Like do you have any madness to your methodology?
Yes, I guess I kind of do. I've just been trying to get, videos, pictures, whatever I can while I'm out and about, and still, being present to network with other people. I'm someone who every Sunday I've got a calendar notification. I'm someone who lives by Google Calendar to go through and organize my photos. And, like we've got all these albums. I'm someone who goes through and organizes all my pictures into albums. And so I'm like, here's a post idea. I just went to this art gallery. Here's all the content I got from that, where I could make a post out of it. And from there, I decide, based on the content I got, is this better as as a post, a carousel post? Can I make this into a reel? I rely on ChatGPT sometimes to help me decide that too.
Mm-hmm.
But even,
great idea.
Yeah, and I get on like email lists for any like high end. So like we said, Highland Park Village, I'm on the email list for them, and they just emailed out that Dior is going to be having one of the Cafe Dior's. We're going to be getting one of the Cafe Dior's, which is not every Dior store has that. And I'm like, I'm making an admission to be at that opening.
Yes,
I'm going to figure out how to be there, or like how to get that invite, and I'm getting content. I'm almost trying to be like a little Dallas, like Dallas luxury influencer, because if people, I mix that in with my real estate post, because if people, I'll bring them in because of that post, but I'll keep them with real estate.
These are great golden nuggets. I hope everyone's getting so much value from this. I know I am. It's always refreshing to hear this. And, so much of what we can say is you may have heard in different formats, or maybe you've heard, from different coaches, different forms, but it's still, the art is doing it, actually moving forward with building that brand, because it does pay dividends later. I love that you said organize your pictures. How many of you right now, if you look at your phone and maybe get the chat going, how many pictures do you have in your phone? I mean, seriously, I have an obnoxious amount of pictures, because I photo everywhere, everything. But you just think that's free content when we're talking about, yes, personal branding can be expensive, but you can start on a very light budget as well. Yeah. And the key is to begin and begin with those pictures that are in there. I love some of these comments. 12,503. I know, 22,000 photos. See, we have content now.
You have content in that, yes.
Exactly.
I will say one more thing too. So Jesse Itzler, I always mispronounce his name, but he was one of our keynote speakers for EXPCon. He said, okay, so I think I will love this. One of his big tips for building your brand was to have like a go-to spot that you hang out at. And when he had no money starting out, he would go to the Beverly Hills Hotel in Los Angeles and just
hang out.
Just get like the cheapest thing, go to the Polo Lounge, get the cheapest thing on the menu. And if any of y'all have been to the Polo Lounge, there's someone always famous there. Every time I've gone there, I think I've been 2 or 3 times. The 3 times I've gone, I've sat next to, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, Bob Saget. I sat next to Dolly Parton, and I've sat next to Nicole Richie. And so like that just tells the clientele that is there. He said he made that his office, and he would go every day and sit at a table and just hang out and get the cheapest thing on the menu and just network.
I love that. Talk about on a budget, but still appearing, to be out there, moving and shaking in the luxury world. I love it. Well, that leads, I've got 2 more things, 2 powerful topics that we're going to power through. Storytelling. I think you do an amazing job, obviously, as a storyteller. I think a lot of us as agents, that is probably a lot of us have that talent. But to truly build that brand and take your business to the next level, it's articulating it. When you go in to get that luxury listing, how do you win it? You articulated better than the other agents. You have shown them through your branding, through your words, through your presentations on how that you're the best for the job. So even if you look at, social media, what is it? Is articulating what we do. Any feedback on that from the storytelling? Do you think you've kind of fell into it? Were you intentional? Or how did you make yourself do it and then grow your audience as an influencer?
I honestly felt like I struggled with that a little bit at first. I really felt like it had to be an actual story. But then I work with a life coach, and she's helped actually a bunch of EXP agents, Lauren Plant. If anybody's looking to work with someone like that, she's helped a bunch of luxury agents and was one herself. She's actually the one that gave me the idea to start posting kind of day in the life stories, like stories as in Instagram stories. And that's when I really feel like I felt like I comfortable in storytelling, because I can tell you everything I do in a day, and I can, tailor it to sound more luxury sometimes as well. But I think that's something we all can do. It sounds monotonous sometimes to us. Yes, Dee Dee Lauren Plant, and she has an E at the end of plant. It's, I go on there and I'm just telling everything I did in a day, and I'll do a pretty background from a house I did. Like I posted some last night. If you guys go to my Instagram, you'll see exactly what I put on my stories. It's just bringing people into a little glimpse of what your life is like. And, that can even be for agent attraction side. But then I think, it allows your client or potential clients to see, it gives some sort of authority, because you're listing everything you do in a day. I like to list a lot about wellness just because I'm interested in that topic, but also I think it shows that I'm working to be as efficient as possible in my business. And I care so much about that I'm willing to make my health the best that it can be.
And I love that. I think it's going outside of real estate a little bit. If you give too much to that audience on your social media, to me, it's too much. How I have always taught agents, and I still live by it, is those certain things, you just think everyone's scrolling through social media, that they're 1 second looking at you. So it's like, what's your look? What do you like? What does she do? So for me, I would think I love God. I think I put that out there. I love my family. I love real estate, and my boys are all hockey, including my husband. So that's a snapshot of Carrie. Yeah. And it's luxury real estate, right?
Well, hockey leans into your sports.
But and that went into my sports and entertainment. And so, when we say personal brand's everything. It is the whole picture of who you are. It's not just a logo. It's a look. It's the way you post. It's being consistent in your business and putting that out there to the world. That is what a personal branding is. Of course, and I would love, with time, we've got I know it's so much to talk about. So good. But I wanted just to say, as you all are thinking about even taking your branding to the next level, is all of these things. To me, it takes it all to create that powerful personal branding. And once you get that, the results just come in, crazy. One last thing, and then we'll do some recaps. Global marketing. You have been amazing at that. I know we've just brought an amazing group into
Olivier and Audrey. Yes.
But you have done an excellent job with it. So how has global marketing helped you with your personal brand, and how do you use it?
Yes. So I think with a lot of the affluent clients that come with working luxury real estate, a lot of what they're thinking about is how they can build their wealth, right? And a big portion of that is real estate for them. So, when I first met Olivier and Audrey Mevelec, they're two EXP agents, originally from France, now live in Dallas, Texas. They started this global marketing brand because they were like, we have access to both France real estate. We have access to Texas real estate, but we're starting to lose clients when our clients go to look other places, and we don't want to lose those clients when we could be helping them, even if it's through a referral. So that's really what drew me in, is, keeping my clients for life. And I'm someone who loves to travel. I was just in Hawaii last week, was in St. Bart's for Christmas. I really loved that I could combine the two of those. But now, diving deeper into this, I'm seeing that promoting that I have these global connections, which we all do within EXP, nobody does it better than us, than global connections.
Yep.
It really drives that authority that if you're, posting, even if it's not your listing, even if you're posting, investment opportunities in other countries, it really, I think it's something about it just drives authority that, like, whoa, you have access to these properties. Like, nobody else in San Angelo, Texas is doing that. So that really helped me stand apart. Dallas is a very international based market. We have, I think about 15% of all transactions in Dallas come from international, which is actually a huge portion when you think about how big our market is. So that's super important to me. And while it's not driving, you wouldn't think it'd drive my Dallas business, it absolutely does.
Absolutely. It all helps. It all creates that branding, that image, that content. So you have been such a joy. I could talk to you, of course, for hours about this. I know. Let's give Halle some love on the comments. And as she's going out, one question, do you post yourself or do you have an assistant? Someone asked that.
In the past, I've had people that have posted for me, and I've time and time again gone back to doing it myself.
Yes.
So I have other things that I have. I have an operations manager. I have a virtual assistant. I lean on them heavily on other things, but that's so that I make time for myself to make.
Yes.
It might be down the line that I bring in a consultant, but I think it's always going to be where I'm doing it myself.
Your success is you're doing it yourself.
Like, yeah, I bring it.
There it is.
I'm actually posting myself.
Absolutely. Well, you are wonderful. Lots of hearts, of hearts. Thank you. So many giveaways. And if you are wanting show notes afterwards, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop your Instagram handle in, and we will definitely be sharing those to you through your direct message on Instagram. Next, we have, and she was absolutely amazing, but we have an amazing second guest with us, Levy. Come on in. How are you? Oh, I can't hear you.
I muted myself earlier. Hi.
How are you? So Noah, am I saying it right? Has just joined EXP Luxury, EXP and EXP Luxury. So we would love to give her some love, but really talk about, gosh, what an amazing background history in luxury real estate that you have. And we are so honored to have you with us at EXP Luxury. And thank you for coming on today to our Luxury Legends and Leaders as we explore this amazing topic of personal branding, because it matters so much in our business. So while we kick it off, Noah, tell us your career in a snapshot of what it's like, because you've done a lot of things over the last 21 years.
I sure have. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, coming on brand new into EXP. This is really exciting. My career in real estate has taken many different paths over these 21 years. But basically, I kind of fell into real estate like many people do, coming off a master's program from Boston University in International Relations and Communications. When I got to Austin, I couldn't find a job. So I would spend my days kind of like driving around. And at the time, there was an area in Austin called East Austin that was just starting to redevelop. And because I had like all the time on my hands, I would get down and ask all the builders and all the people, like, what are you all doing? What's happening here? Who's buying these? So I started to just gain a bunch of market knowledge. And one day I was talking to my parents, and out of frustration, I just kind of said, you should buy like one of these lots that's happening over here, because there's so much redevelopment happening. And my dad said, okay, well, figure it out. Like, tell me everything about it. I got a real estate agent. I did all of the work for that real estate agent, going to the city and finding all of the things that permitting and comps at the time weren't available. So then I realized, oh, I could actually do this. And so like 2 months later after we closed, I got my real estate license. I made my dad my first client.
Oh, wow. Hey, you got it though, right?
I got it.
Then yes. So that was 21 years ago. You've been with different companies.
Mhm.
Did just leave a very big company to join EXP. Were you nervous about it? Because here we are really creating, you have your brand, but you are
Mhm.
still, there's always a rebrand.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that? How are you dealing with that? Because that's a big thing, but I think it's a very positive thing of how you've come over with already 21 years of an amazing experience, amazing background to put into EXP, and how you're going to really take your business to the next level.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest benefits I had actually was that in between these two big brokerages that I joined right when I was starting, and the one that I just left before coming to EXP, I actually owned my own brokerage, which is for 15 years, which is how I started my whole personal brand. So when I was and it's what got me attention to be asked to come be a part of my previous brokerage that I was at. That was like the attraction, right? They saw value. They saw an opportunity in a market that's very competitive here in Austin, Texas. And of course, yes, of course, anytime there's change, there is, stress and am I making the right choice? And am I, is this the path that I want to take?
But there's always opportunity.
Absolutely. And the thing that I had to rely the most on was the fact that I did have my personal brand, right? That people already knew me through that brokerage that I had on my own for 15 years. Like I had already established the credibility and I already established market knowledge. So when I came over to EXP, which is a company that really leans on this personal brand and really encourages agents to build their brand, it was almost a no-brainer, right? Like I can come over. What do you mean I don't have to like adapt to your like brand colors and things and all of this other stuff that ends up taking away from what you've built for so many years?
Yes, agree. And thank you for saying that, because I wholeheartedly, that is the power of EXP. But when you talk about your former brokerage, when you had your own and you had your personal brand, we've got many people looking to see how can they better their brand. What would you say your personal brand was or is and has evolved? And how did you stumble into it? Or were you, as our word of today is intentional, did you really go after this or did you just metamorphose into your brand?
That's a really, really great question. I think I morphed into my brand and it's been evolving and it's I think that for me, it will continue to evolve because, and I'm going to use some of Halle's, she was talking about how she uses some of agents' things, right? But I'm in that market, like the people that she is referring to, like Kumara and Bridget and Cord, like these are all top agents in the market. But for somebody in the Austin market, but for somebody who those are like my direct competition, I had to differentiate myself, right? I couldn't do the same thing that they're doing because then I was just like doing the same thing in the same market. I do think it's great to do it. And I do look for inspiration in other markets. But for me, I had to I identified 3 things that even though I'm morphing, they continue to be my go-tos. And those are values, being authentic, and providing expertise, right? So if I am consistent with giving my audience those 3 things, then I have established myself with trust and professionalism in my marketplace. And you can expand on it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I love that. So your values, how do you show values on your socials or in your brand? Like what would be an example of that?
Yeah. So, you were talking earlier about how your kids and the hockey and God and all of these things
Right.
that are your values fuel your brand, right? So
Right.
for me, I'm not too far away from it. I love to travel, so I take people on these experiences, but when I travel, I also usually pop into a real estate company or a house that I love. I'll connect with somebody there and say, show me your, most luxurious home that you have here, or not, right? So show me
Right.
what is that median range. Doesn't really matter. I'm really, really big on philanthropy. So I've taken people on the journeys of what it's been to sponsor a team or donate soccer balls to underprivileged kids. Like, those are my values, and I give back to the community, and that's important to me. And it resonates with people who
Yes.
have similar aligned values.
Yes, no, and that creates your authenticity. That's your values. Like you said, you combine those. Expertise. What methods do you show your, and again, personal branding can be a logo. It can be just your aura, how you promote on social media, everything. How do you show your expertise in that?
Also a great question. I think it's so the way that I have ran my stories, for example, on social media is consistency, right? Like, I'm consistently in these neighborhoods, and I can consistently show you what is on market, what's off market, right? You want to work with an agent that is plugged in, that knows what is happening on the market, even if it's not on MLS. Guess what? I know about it. That gives me a level of expertise that another competitor may not have.
Right.
And then often I say, okay, well, this is what you get in this area of Austin, right? That this is what this buys you in downtown. This is what this buys you in Northwest Hills. Why do we like Westlake so much? Okay, well, it has great schools. Providing that value proposition brings people into your sphere, and they want to work with you.
Yes, absolutely. I love all of this. Amazing. Well, I know when you joined EXP, joining the luxury division was very important, and, with your luxury career. So as we've said, part of a niche can be luxury, but inside of luxury, there's so many more things within it, whether it's waterfront properties, lake properties, sports and entertainment. Halle was talking about new construction. What have you always had, one niche, several niches? Like, tell us about that. And of course, how did that play a role in your personal branding?
So I have always had several niches, mostly because of my passions and my sphere of influence.
Yes.
So, for example, I identified when I was starting to build my personal brand, I identified who are my spheres of influence. Well, I went to UT Austin here, so that's one. I have kids in one private school. That's another one. I have another kid in this pre-K. That's another one. I'm part of several philanthropic organizations. That's another sphere. And they all aligned in different ways, right? So with those, like, let's call them streams, right, of work and spheres of influence, then within those came different niche markets. Mm-hmm. So, for example, my UT Austin crowd, we all graduated, we all started getting married, we all needed starter homes. That's what we needed, right, at the time. So that was my niche market with that particular group.
Right.
With my philanthropic colleagues, some of them are very wealthy. They all wanted beautiful, modern homes. And guess what? I love modern homes.
They're beautiful.
Right? So it was like a really, really great alignment in that. My kids' schools, I became very involved in the PTAs and their sports divisions, and I would sponsor their little T-shirts and all of that stuff. And those people were looking from anything from investment properties to moving up because they had another family, another kid, and a parent moving in, or relocating jobs. And that opened the middle market for me, that it was a little bit of everything.
Yes.
So I just created different
You
ones.
created, no, I've always said with niches, luxury is definitely there. Some people say luxury is its own thing, but I think yes, it's luxury, but there's so many more in there. And the top agents that I have interviewed have always had, 3 to 5 are really good ones, but I've have some that have really have experience in like 5 to 10 niches out there, because there are different avenues in this, of course, wild, crazy real estate world that we live in, whether it's, the global aspect, the community aspect, and all the different little things within there, whether it's land and ranch, golf communities, country clubs. There's so many that people can specialize. So again, those are niches that we have taken. And again, we are here today talking about personal branding. And when it comes to building that brand, how hard it is. And I think it's hard. I think it's doable, but you have to do it. I think it's one of those things. It's not overnight. You have a brand. Anyone can go pay a artist to have you a logo, but we're talking even more than that. We're talking about the whole story of your career. And if you're newer in this business, we've all been new. We've all created that story. Halle just moved to Dallas and she created hers. You and I have been 20 plus years in the business. And I'm always have been recreating, re-upping the game, growing that personal branding. So with that, with your storytelling, all of that comes together. But the actual, can you help everybody that's tuned in with actual steps of building that personal brand? What have you done that maybe doesn't cost a lot of money, but what have maybe that you have poured money into that has been an absolute win for you, but maybe it did cost money to do it?
Absolutely. And I have 2 answers to that. One, social media is free.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, Instagram stories and posts and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, all of these channels are free. So you can go take your camera if you're super savvy, and it doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning, right? Like you're building up to it, and it is daunting. I mean, I can tell you that I've been doing this for many years, and I still get worried about interviews like this or going on camera and putting my face on social media. Like it's getting over that, right? But the most important thing is putting yourself out there and jumping into the fire and not thinking about what is somebody going to say about this. It doesn't matter. Somebody's going to love it. Yes. If I was able to super quick show you a post, I fell really, really badly in one of my videos for a property, and I posted it. And I posted it because
that's gold. That's gold.
Because it was the reality, right? It's like we all show our behind the scenes sometimes, and even our behind the scenes are sometimes curated. And this was like, I tripped, I fell, I hurt myself. Like it was a real life moment for a realtor in real estate.
That happens to all of us in real estate, right?
It happens all the time, right? And people were like, thank you for being genuine, and thank you for putting, both agents and buyers and sellers were like, this is the truth, right? This is nothing in our world. We focus so much on the perfection of it, but nothing in our world is perfect. So you can post that too. So that's all free, right? Like, I also like to sprinkle in things about me that make me connect on a personal level. Like, I mean, my husband's filmed me being a crazy mom on the sidelines, that's who I am. So that is also free. I got to a point where my luxury listings were not benefiting for my own camera use, and I'm not super tech savvy. So I did employ somebody that is very social media savvy, and I do rely a ton on my photographers and my videographers because they do elevate properties. And if you're in a luxury market, you do need to provide that service. And that was a great investment for me personally as I was growing my brand and elevating into a different price point. Mm-hmm. However, I don't think it's an immediate necessary deal. If you're building up, just have it in your business plan and have it in your growth plan. Like, I want to get to these spaces. And as you're closing properties, put a little bit aside for your next video and your next, big social media post that you're going to do.
I love that because, and I do want to talk about the professional videos and the professional photos. Let's start with videoing the homes. Absolutely. As a luxury agent, I think that is one thing you cannot, as building your personal brand, you are showing how you are marketing that property. So I think that is just an absolute, I know it is expensive, these videographers, but the ones that are not professionally done, especially being a luxury agent, you can tell the quality. But even if you think now, hey, I want to even take my business to the next level, show that personal branding within those videos that you do professionally. There's different ways to do that. You can actually talk about the home. You can have a certain look that you do every time. You need to have your logo in there. So that is money that I don't think we can cut as luxury agents, is filming the home. Now, when it comes to pictures, and you heard me earlier in the show, I said, how many pictures are in your phone? We do have those pictures that do work for social media.
Yes.
Like how Noe said, that is free. That is free pictures. You got those pictures, put some captions on them, or just post that picture with a great write-up of something of good content. That is somewhat free to do, that you can do. Expensive but pays in dividends is to maybe, if you had the money once a month, at least once a quarter. And I coached an agent that did this, and it was really life changing for them, because they started going around monthly with a professional photographer and just did lifestyle snapshots of themselves, and they're beautiful pictures. They would then put on different captions and really grew their brand that way, got business, and ended up, this particular realtor was voted best realtor in Nashville. Again, why? They had a personal brand. They built that brand. They put it out there. So that paid in dividends, having those professional pictures, that they still would put some of the, authentic selfie or out with the family picture, but having those staples, I think really, really pays off as building that brand. And again, when you take the picture, I think pictures are important. I think the coloring and everything, because that's your persona. That's what you're showing to the world. For years, it is funny we're on here for personal branding, because for years mine was the red dress and, the power heels. I still wear the power heels. I will never give those up, but I've evolved into like hot pink. I don't know. I was like, I'm changing up my look. I'm changing up my personal logo. So there are ways to change, evolve, keep going. Yes. But we always, as a realtor in real estate, especially luxury, to really build that brand. So we're going to end it too with other ways that you have out there. Have you ever done billboards, radio, any of those things that you think have helped you? And obviously there's different ways to do this. So like I actually am invited back to a radio show, but I've got sponsors pay for that show. So that's not money, but I had the brand built up that they wanted that. So let's talk about it both ways. You can pay for some of this, but there's also, as realtors, ways to get sponsors for it. Any success that you've had, good or bad, with that?
Yeah. I've done a lot through these 21 years, both good and bad, like you say, and that's okay. You evolve. Much like Halle said, I am a member of several private groups like Soho House, but I still, I did not a radio show of mine, but I've been invited to be an expert in the field in different venues, right? So both TV, film, TV, radio. Also, I am quoted on the Austin American Statesman, which is our newspaper here, as well as the Austin Business Journal. So again, establishing market credibility and you as a professional in your field, right? So these contacts will call me and say, what do you think about this new development? Or what do you think is going to happen with the interest rates? How I got one of those interviews was because I sent like every Friday, I send my active pipe with all of my listings, open houses. But one of them in the last quarter of 2024, I decided to kind of do a State of the Union. This is when everything in politics was kind of like going crazy. And in my State of the Union, I said, why is the market so volatile right now? Why are we seeing all these things? Our Austin market was through the roof at one point. And the media picked up on that. Like, they weren't on my list. Somebody forwarded to them and they said, can we quote you with this? And I got such a great response. And again, my active pipe is free, right? Like, it's a membership that carries throughout the year, but I can use it as much or little as I want. Other things that have created me, again, I've mentioned like the sponsorships for schools. It's an easy way for your brand to go on a jersey and travel the entire city with little kids. It's very cute.
Yes, I love these. But it's ideas, and we're talking from our perspective, and I truly hope anyone listening to this is something sparks something in you to say, hey, I could do this, or this is an idea that I could do, because this is what it's all about, is growing our luxury businesses. As we are wrapping up, I do want to say there's a question about socials, and there's so much out there when it comes to social media. Which ones? I'm going to give mine really quick, and I would love to get yours, Noah's. I love LinkedIn. I think is a definite. I see people not wanting to do LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great one to do. To me, it's consistency with that. You will, when you start off, it's like no one likes anything on LinkedIn, but then they start liking as you build up. And EXP has a huge following out there with many different channels to go out there and follow, and at least have a base of people. And always follow us and we'll like you back. And Instagram to me is the powerhouse. I love Instagram. To me, if you're asking, I would not do all of them if you're not in it already. But if you are in them, then of course you can keep cranking them all. But it is overwhelming to get into so many at the same time. What about you? What are your go-tos? What has been most successful? And we only have about 3 minutes, so we got to
hustle on it. Mine are really Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and really honestly Google. Like, if you can build your own page on Google, and every time that you have a closing or a lease, anything, a sale, have your clients drop in a Google review and build that, right? Because eventually you want people to Google you and say, oh, this is the person, and then you're full of great reviews. So I'd say that those are my top 5 or 6 to go to.
I love it. Well, Noah, let's give Noah some love. She has been absolutely amazing. Brand new to EXP and EXP Luxury. And we are so blessed to have you. And I cannot wait to just see you soar with EXP and really watch your brand grow even more. So thank you for sharing all your ideas. And you've been so instrumental today. So thank you. Lots of hearts going on here. Well, I'm Carrie Zeier. We are wrapping up our first show of Luxury Legends and Leaders. And we will be here monthly, pouring in value to you with amazing topics, amazing leaders, and definitely legends from around the world of empowering our realtor base. And when I say our realtor base, even if you're not EXP, we are realtors. We service our community, and we are here to grow and learn together. So it has been my privilege to be here. Make sure we have your Instagram handle in the chat. We would love to share with you our show notes, and we would so appreciate, as we're growing our YouTube channel, if you would subscribe. I can't talk after 1 hour. And definitely, I appreciate all the amazing comments. We love you guys. Let's keep growing luxury together, and I'll see you next time.